Hi guys, this is Chris Elston, co-writer, co-creator of Rabbit's Badass Song and co-owner of Flash Delirium LLC. So today I want to talk about why I stopped submitting to comic companies my independent book. There was a time when I think for all of us, the dream, the goal, the objective was to get our book published under one of the bigger independent publishers out there. You know, not obviously not Marvel and DC, but Image, Boom, and all those guys. I don't think that's the case anymore. When I talk about submitting to the publisher, this is for everybody who actually had or has a finished product ready to go. It's pencil ink, it's been edited, it's professional looking, it's a book you can put on the shelf and somebody will pick up. All of you guys. So you do that and you get more or less rejection letters, right? They're all the same, you know. It's almost like they're the same. They all use the same layout and it's copy and paste whatever into it. I know we're so excited and thrilled you decided, submit to our company, blah blah blah. But unfortunately this time, your book's not a good fit, or we're not needing it and whatever, and they send you on your way. And this happens a lot, and there's a lot of people that I know who has some amazing books. I'm talking books that would rival anything that the mainstream's putting out. And you sit back and wonder, like, okay, why didn't they pick this book up? And I'm gonna tell you, it's not. I truly believe it has nothing to do with the quality of the book, because there's a lot of good books getting put out there. It's taste. There's hundreds upon thousands of books just produced. We all know this just by our social media feeds. And they get sent out to, a lot of them will submit to Image and all these guys. And these guys even encourage, like, send your book to us. We're looking for new original material. And no, they're not. No, they're looking more or less. And this is no not shitting on them or anything, because it's a business at the end of the day. And they can only take in but so many books. Most of them, they want established people. They want established writers and creators that's already working for like the big two. And it's easy for them to come over. Let's say like some guys or ladies working on Batman or X-Men, whatever, and they have a pretty successful run on that book, and they have this own title they want to put out. It's easy for them. It's easy for Image and all the rest of them to like pick them up because they're already a name. So that's a selling point for them, which is weird because just having an Image logo on your book is a selling point. It seems like. And I don't mean to keep on saying Image. This is just the easiest one to, kind of reference and use for all independent publishers putting out books. There was a time when that was the best outcome you could get, was getting the book picked up by a publisher. But you know what? Now you don't need them anymore. You really don't. There's only two reasons that I can possibly think of. One, there are some, marketing advantages you have with them because it'll be in a previous book. It'll be on their website listed with like the new books that are coming out and whatnot, but you still got to do most of the promotion yourself. And, which goes into the brand recognition. Obviously, you put out, an indie book with the Image logo on the cover, it's going to sell, but now after that first initial sell, because more than likely, if it, hopefully it gets a little buzz, like a couple people review it and they kind of pack, through that circuit, they get some, your book gets some attention. But aside from that, you're still gonna do a lot of the advertisement yourself, like you're doing now with your books. And then the second thing is just they do cover the printing costs, so you don't have to worry about getting the books printed or keeping them in the inventory. They take care of that. But that's it. Everything else, whatever you're doing now, you're pretty much going to do that. And think about it. At least when you're controlling it yourself, you have more time to get things done. Now, that can work for you and against you. Because I know a lot of us, there are gaps in between our books. I know ideally, most of us would love to have our books out every month, most every bi-monthly. But for obvious reasons, that doesn't always work out. So if you're going to one of these publishers and they pick you up and you only got an issue and a half done, you might have some problems, so you would have to have like so much already completed going in, which I think that's another reason a lot of them just don't pick these books up, because of that. They know that, stuff can get behind, and it takes a lot of planning, and money. There's money in this, regardless of how you look at it. And I think a lot of people think that getting picked up by a publisher is gonna eliminate a lot of problems, when in reality it probably add more problems, I think. But anyway, getting back to why I personally stopped submitting to companies, and we've done it. We've done a few, and I did. It's like everybody else, rejections. Some place I figured they probably wouldn't do it, but you never know, And we at the beginning of things, we thought, okay, we have enough money to, do the production at least of the book. And if we get picked up by a publisher, obviously, like I just said, get some print done, and hopefully, if things worked out, maybe we could just, bite the bullet and take out a loan, just, get a lot of the other books already, set up. So if a publisher did pick us up, we'd be ahead of the game. So that was, we did go in with a plan and whatnot, and it does help. It just, it does each a little more attention. But anyway, no, so none of that happened. We got rejection letters and stuff, but we kept on going. We're a little bummed out. It was cool that we even got responses, because some of them, sometimes you send these things off, people don't say anything to you. But I've noticed, I've talked to some other friends of mine. I think they must have more people on their team now just to handle these things. So, but nah, then you look at like the requirements a lot. This is kind of another thing that's kind of, I don't know about this, that kind of throws you off, puts you off with these publishers when you submit to them. And a lot of them will say they want to know the entire story in 2 pages, where you're going with this whole thing. I'm like, if I'm telling you my entire story, just for you to not even pick the thing up, that's kind of, why should I do that? Why should I tell you everything that's going on in this book? That's just me. I don't know. You gotta, you could lie. You could do like, Robert Kirkman did and say, oh yeah, Walking Dead. Yeah, it has aliens in it. It doesn't have any aliens in it, just to get them to buy the book. You could try that, but I don't know. That was kind of, I just didn't like that approach to it. But the big thing is, now the campaigns online, like Kickstarter, Indiegogo, and all, there's newer ones too. It showed me a lot of things, because there's people out there right now that are making like 10, 20, 30, 40, hell, some almost hitting $100,000 mark on their books, getting them funded. And really, if you look at it, you're not gonna get that kind of money working for these other guys with your book. Especially starting out. They pick your book up. Those first few issues, you're gonna be struggling, because they're only gonna do a very set print run. And you gotta think, a lot of you notice now they sell your books yourselves. You know how that works. Splitting the cost between how much you make and how much the stores get to pick it up. Now you got another company. Now you got a company that they're gonna make their money. They're getting their money back off the prints. They're going to get their money. They're going to take a percentage of whatever the book sells just for having you under them. Then you got to take the other chunk from the guys that print, from the distribution companies. So you're not going to make nearly anything off these first few books. So you're going to be struggling, And I know it would suck to have like a book that sells pretty well on Amazon. You're working at the grocery store trying to make ends meet. Like, what the hell am I going to do all this? So, but again, you got guys doing these campaigns that they're making killer money. It would take them months upon months to make, working for a bigger publisher. And, building a following and stuff is different now. There's so many advantages to doing comic books now than has ever been before. And the only thing you really have that's an obstacle now is there are an abundance and just a large amount of people doing books. And I don't want to say the word competition, because I don't think we're all independent creators, and we should not be trying to compete against each other. I just don't think that's a good way to put things. But there are a lot of books put out. We should just be aware of that. And there's a lot of variety now. And, that's what we need to focus on. Like, you could create your own brand. And you got all these guys out now, they're making like millions doing these books. And that can be you. That could be us. And like myself, with our company, we did pretty all right, because when we did the first issue of Rabbit, that was totally us. We did it all out of pocket and everything, and we made some money, and the book got sold, and that helped build up our fan base. So when we did issues 2 and we did our first Kickstarter, it really paid off. So, and again, like we look at the numbers and stuff, if we had done this and got picked up by a publisher, we may or may not be a little further ahead than we are now. There's just no way of telling. But now you're all in control. I just don't think there's a need to have a publisher anymore. It's just too many, alternatives now. But the production, you still got to do all that yourself. You got to, again, if you're like a team, if you're, with artists and pencil and inker and all that, you got to do all that. You got to pay for these guys. So if you're running a production cost of $2,500 to $3,000, hell, maybe $4,000, you still got to pay that yourself. Image is not, or Boom or Scout Council, all them, they're not doing that. That's your job. They're only going to cover the printing costs. And that's that's tough. That's very tough. But if you're doing that now, and he's going, you can put enough money together to get your book done, do a crowdfunding route, and get like 200 people to back your project, and they know about it, and you can send the book out. Then then after that, like I told you in my last video, start talking to these local comic book shops, get your book in there, and also like I said about the convention thing, if you know people in that circuit, and you can afford to check out a couple of conventions and put your book out, you don't need Image, you don't need Scout, because they're not going to do any of that for you. And that's another thing. If you got the convention circuit stuff, you still got to pay that yourself. They're not going to cover any of that stuff. So it's like you're literally paying just to have a little bit more recognition on your book. Another thing to add on to how there's a lot of people using the campaign route now, a lot of them are using it. You got just Image and Boom and all those guys, and there's others, they're doing that route too. So wait a minute. I mean, if they're using this, then what do I need you for? And again, I'm not shitting on them or anything. I'm doing these videos because I believe in the indie community, and I want all you guys to get the best experience and have a chance with things. That's why I try to be real. And I don't want to sound condescending or like I'm, being disrespectful to the bigger companies, because they have their place too. But at the same token, no, man, you can do it yourself. It's gonna take a lot of work. You're gonna bust ass, but that's with anything in life, and it can pay off. And it's totally you. You have so much freedom now when you're independent comics. I think that's the best way to go. And we're growing. There's just so many of us out here now, being successful on different levels. And getting stuff out, because at the end of the day, the biggest thing of all is getting the book done right and trying to get on a consistent basis where we can. Depending on the nature of the book. I know some people, it may be like a one shot. It could be like a three issue run. It could be 100 issue run, whatever. So just being consistent with that to keep fans' momentum up, that's hard. And I know that could, if you got picked up by a publisher, depending on how well the book did and the money comes rolling in, that could also be a way to bypass all the gaps. But also, you do these campaigns, you're making a lot of money, you should, depending on how much it is, hopefully you can, be a couple issues ahead and keep going, depending on just the complexity of the production costs and what the book consists of. But yeah, now more than ever, I just, and again, if you guys disagree or you have any, want to add anything, comments are welcome. I love, when you guys that helps keep this channel alive and stuff. But I just don't personally see it, but I'm not, at the same time, I'm not telling you don't do it. Try it. Everybody's story is going to be different. But I think, who was I think the only person I can think of off the top of my head who just sent in submission was the guy who did, was it The Legend of Luther Strode? Isn't that the book? I can't remember. I think that was the only one right now the Image kind of picked up, and so they ran with it. Because you can't, Robert Kirkman doesn't count, because Robert Kirkman, he knew those guys, before he even, he was working with books, and he was doing his own, his, what was that book called? Killer Pope or whatever it was. And he knew him, so he had to weigh in. So, that's not like you and I just sending stuff off on an email, hoping for the best. And there's so many guys now doing cool stuff, like just branding. Make your own, you can make your own toys. You can do custom toys. You can make posters, t-shirts. If you got to go to barbershops and, talk about your book, whatever you got to do, there's ways to just get the book to be successful without going through them. And, it also boils down to a lot of these companies, it's preference. They have a certain book they want. So no matter, you got the coolest book in the world, and if it doesn't fit their taste, they're gonna pass on it. You know, so that's why you can't, just like I said with the trying to get into local comic shops, don't take it personal. It does not mean that your book sucks or you don't have what it takes to put out a book. You know, who are they? I mean, there's a lot of books that get put out that are questionable anyway. So it's like, you know, but that it got put out for a different reason. Maybe they just liked it. They liked it, you know, but didn't, you know, translate well to 100,000 people. Whereas your book, the person didn't like, could translate. So what's more important? You know, think about that. But yeah, this is gonna be another short video. I just really wanted to like just talk to you guys because I've seen I got a lot of friends, and again, myself included, who've done this route. And I'm some people get a little down, get bummed out by it, you know, especially if they do well on a crowdfunding route and they're starting to get a little following, and they send these things out hoping that would be kind of like a you know, extra help to them. It doesn't work out. It does, you know, I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't change anything. We can make this work without these publishers. And I truly believe in the next few years, independent comics are going to they're going to keep on rising up. They're seeing now that a lot of these mainstream books just don't hold up. There's just too much out there now that you can go through, you know. And I know that's why I don't understand when people say that the industry's dead and manga's killing it. Manga's always done well, you know. It has nothing to do with the decline and what we do in our comic market. But if anything, we're kicking ass. I mean, just go to Kickstarter, go to crowdfunding. There are people buying books. You know, there's millions of dollars spent all the time in the comic industry. But that's it for this one. The next one this is almost kind of like a two-parter thing, because the next video, I just want to have just like a talk with all you guys, all my creators, and you know, people who are working on books or wanting to work on books, and just have like a little, you know, heart to heart talk about things. But that's it this time. So as usual, if you like the content, please like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to sign up for Rabbit's Badass Song issue number 3, dropping September 6th on Kickstarter. Link is below.